from the Mercy One studio. Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Stanley Ashes, a seminarian and summer intern with the Diocese of Des Moines. On today's show, we're visiting with Dr. Barbara Decker, Executive Director at Catholic Charities, about their programs, services, and initiatives. But before we get to today's interview, Bishop, what's on your mind?
Good morning, Stan. It's good to have you on board here.
Well,
Not exactly the standard seminarian summer placement, is it? I know that's the tradition here, but the show's called Making It Personal, so just tell us a little bit about yourself. You're Central Iowa native, right?
Oh, yep. Grew up in Ames.
Oh, my. Can anything good come from Ames?
Yeah. I like Ames. I'm sort of a K through 12 homeschooler family, so pretty kooky in that way. And
you said it, I didn't.
Yeah, joined seminary after high school, and I go to school up in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah, so unlike the major seminarians, when the COVID broke, you came back to Iowa. Is that right?
Yeah, they kicked us
did
right
a lot
out.
of distance learning then too. So,
Yep.
So you were back with your family.
Yep,
It got even kookier then.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
So you've crossed the border of the Dubuque Archdiocese into Des Moines. And if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have been very upset about that. But now I'm so delighted. So,
well, it's funny how that works, isn't it?
You
Yeah.
with us. So the winding road God leads us on. So, well, it's great to have you. An eventful week, even though we're in the midst of summer. We crossed the solstice, and so now here we are officially in the summer months as well. The church celebrating the great feast and everything else. Next Monday, I'm pleased I'll be celebrating the Catechetical Leadership Institute graduation Mass on Monday night, and we're going to also combine that with the initiation into the Order of Lectors for our permanent deacon candidates. So it's a kind of a twofer there, that Mass on the Feast of the Solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul on Monday. It'll also be kind of a poignant day for us in the Diocese of Des Moines as we celebrate the funeral mass for beloved pastor Father Tom Cunnell, also, who died this past Wednesday night after cancer that had finally taken him, but his faith, I think, beautiful to the end. This gentle, tender pastor of souls who came to us from India and the Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis, and had served in the diocese so nobly and beautifully. So we lift him up to God. Also, this past week, Deacon Bill Schrader finally celebrating his memorial mass, who did succumb to COVID back a couple months ago. Much beloved chaplain at Mercy West Lakes, and Deacon Dave O'Brien was full of the Spirit there in the homily that he preached also. And I would personally want to lift up to God Deacon John McCulley of Ames, permanent deacon there for so many years, beautiful soul, ministered to the Hispanic community, obviously a teacher at Iowa State, and one who actually vested me in my transitional diaconate ordination back in 1988. So, again, a gentleman, a southern gentleman, but Midwest Iowa, much beloved. A lot going on in our culture. We know the times are one of upheaval. It seems now that the unrest has taken to kind of dismantling some of the icons of mixed character, national figures from the Confederacy, so a lot of statues being toppled around the country. I think this is something that obviously some of these are most provocative places, but I wonder about that process, if this is really how we want to define ourselves, or in civil discourse and other processes we might look at those who are offensive to others. Now, I noticed that two statues of St. Junipero Serra were toppled in San Francisco and Los Angeles as well. I think, he who has also a statue in the U.S. Capitol representing the state of California, hopefully that will remain intact. A mixed figure, obviously, and one that Native Americans have treated themselves. There's not consensus even there. Iris Engstrand at the University of San Diego says he was much nicer to the Indians than to the military establishment that was there. He was obviously strict in how he was doing things, but was a caring and forgiving person. So I don't think we whitewash the history on that, but I also think we have to come to terms with our own mixed stories and not become pharisaical or intolerant in that. So if we have challenges, but what we might sometimes project outwards, we also, I think, have to make peace and reconcile in ourselves. So thank you.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and John Leonetti in the Morning is provided by Blessman International. The coronavirus has impacted lives in Iowa and around the world. This is especially true in rural South Africa, where COVID-19 restrictions have led to vulnerable children being hospitalized due to starvation. To combat this hunger, Blessman International now offers a program called One Child at a Time. You can sponsor a child in South Africa for $1 a day. Learn more at blessmaninternational.org. blessmaninternational.org.
Thank you, Big Red Q Quick Print, for underwriting the sports report. Family owned and operated since 1980, Big Red Q Quick Print is a full-service print shop ready to help you with all your printing needs with speed and accuracy. Forms, manuals, brochures, letterhead, envelopes, business cards, custom invitations, design, and bindery. Big Red Q Quick Print, located across from Merle Hay Mall. Online at bigredq-desmoines.com. Big Red Q Quick Print. We make printing easy.
Welcome back. I'm Stanley Ashes, a seminarian and summer intern with the Diocese of Des Moines. On today's show, we're visiting with Dr. Barbara Decker, Executive Director at Catholic Charities, about the organization's programs, services, and initiatives.
Good morning, Barbara. Good morning.
Good morning, Bishop. How are you?
Fine. You know, it seems like we've been at so many different Zoom meetings and other things in these past weeks. I feel like I'm talking almost to a member of the household here. But Barbara, you've probably been on the show with Bishop Pates, my predecessor, at different times over the years. But I think just for our listeners and the Spirit Catholic Radio and Iowa Catholic Radio audiences, the show's called Making It Personal. And just again, a little bit about yourself and how you've come to have a role with the diocese. But you're no stranger to the Des Moines area and different important institutions within it.
Well, thank you so much, Bishop. It is our first time together on the radio. We have been on a number of different other sessions, but this is pretty special to me, so I appreciate it. My background, without going through all the details, I've been very blessed. I've been associated with Drake University and Mercy Medical Center, of course, the diocese most recently. And in all of those experiences that I've had, which they've been multiple, I've learned so much from different people and just the ability to work with people on different matters and issues, and sometimes very sensitive ones. And you learn, the importance of listening and collaborating with people to find, solutions. And I think, particularly in the position I have now at Catholic Charities, I have that opportunity through both social justice initiatives, as you know, as well as just providing for those essential needs for our community.
Okay, and and your family, kind of a representative of the American experience in a way, right? With some immigration. Yes.
My family comes from a family of 7 brothers and sisters, including myself. And my father came from Mexico as a farm laborer with his family, a very large family. And then my mother's family came from Italy. So, that was kind of an unusual time that they would have come together, been married in a very, cultural experience, because we had 2 different cultures that were working together. And so you learned from that as well. But they always believed, of course, in their faith, and then also their children being raised in the faith. But they also emphasized the importance of education. And they had a lot of, they worked a lot, Bishop. They did do a lot of work. So that work ethic is in all of us and their family.
I've witnessed it as I look across the street and see the light on at odd hours over there.
So I share that with you because I enjoy my work. I enjoy, obviously, my family as well, and have a son and daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren as well. So we have opportunities to come together and obviously practice our faith. And I really have been so blessed that I'm a member, as you know, of St. Ambrose Cathedral. I've been recently asked to be part of being an usher during the daily masses, and have really enjoyed coming back, obviously receiving the Eucharist, but also helping others.
Oh, yeah. So an usher now maybe takes on a little bit different flavor than it did before. But growing up as one of 7 children, good techniques to as an attorney and things that you are, not to be adversarial, but an advocate, but in a firm way to kind of impress upon people what would be the observance of order and charity at the same time. So
the legal education is important as it relates particularly to justice, and you couple that with the Catholic social teachings, I think it makes for a very strong advocate.
Oh, it's a potent combination. So let's talk about some of the social justice initiatives you're working on. The Supreme Court recently weighed in more procedurally than substantively on the DACA and things. So you've been kind of working with advocacy there, have you not?
Yes. Well, a couple of things very quickly. I would just say it is a collaboration, and it's all of the Iowa Catholic Charities offices. There are 4, here in the state, and we're working with the USCCB, with the Catholic bishops, as well as the Catholic Charities USA group, and a group called Justice for Neighbors and for Neighbors and Immigration. And with those groups, we've been coming together on multiple Zoom meetings and telephone calls. Initially, we were thinking the Supreme Court was going to take a different stance, but as you know, they have temporarily retained the DACA program. And for your listeners, many of them who already know this, but there are around 700,000 young immigrants. And what the protections are, they would be deferred from being deported, and then also the ability to have their work permit. And for those that, we look at essential workers, as we've talked about during COVID, and there are 200,000 of those 700 DACA recipients who are essential workers. And of those, there are 30,000 healthcare workers. So very important to our economy and to the COVID protections that we currently have.
Mm-hmm. So they're already taking up a role in society, helping the common good, advancing that. And just so we don't presume anything here, I guess we should have spelled out that acronym, DACA. Could you write that to us, please?
It's interesting. It is called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. So this really focuses on when this program was introduced in 2012. It really was a temporary measure to protect the children coming into the United States with their parents, from deportation. So the deferred action means, in relationship to deportation. And then childhood arrivals are these young immigrants that have gone through school, gone through college, or, working today over the last 8 to 10 years. And so we're looking at providing a more permanent solution. As I've used the word temporary, it's a temporary program, but looking for permanent legislation through our legislators.
Mm-hmm. And that'll probably await whatever happens in the next election. Again, not partisan leaning in any way, but just the way the political situation plays out right now. Probably nothing that's going to be instrumental, enacted before that. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is really the time in which we've come back together with these different groups. And we also, as you know, we've been having recent conversations. I've been meeting with the local offices of both senators, Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst. And those were very productive discussions and just leading us into how do we get to that permanent legislation? What should that look like? And so that will take, as you say, a while to have those conversations and to have the dialogue around them.
Yeah, and that's a note of hope that they're receptive to engagement on that. So
yes.
Yeah, and I don't want to be stereotyping, but I guess my impressions from my own experience as a college teacher, that when I found out I had a student in class who was DACA, it's like, Yes. All right, because I knew they were going to be a solid student, really invested in their studies and willing to engage in classroom discussion. And so I think, the work ethic and the desire to really translate their college education into opportunity to not only personally flourish, but to do good for our society. So, I have a default positive estimation, again. So good. But that's not all that you've been about. Some events this week as our city council met, and it's been something that's been a long time in Genesis, but the anti-racial profiling ordinance, were you part of that process?
Yes, I can just say over the last 2 years, actually I want to give due credit to Tom Chapman, as you know, Tom, the executive director of the Iowa Catholic Conference, along with Bishop Pates, and different civil rights community organizations that have come together in an alliance. And they also include the NAACP, the oldest civil rights organization in the United States. As I was doing my little history, I'm a history teacher by background, so I had to do my history. And they were formed in 1909. And then we have LULAC. LULAC is the League of United Latin American Citizens, and they were formed in 1929. And there are many others, too, that are forming this alliance. But you can see that there's depth and there's wisdom and knowledge in wanting to have this ordinance here in Des Moines that's going to benefit all of us, in the end. But they have been working on this ordinance for the last few years, and you've been instrumental, Bishop, as well, in terms of providing a letter of support to the City Council and to the Mayor, which I know that they appreciated. But we were, I really...
So this didn't just drop in after the death of George Floyd. This was something long preceded it. Yeah. So it's not a reactionary move on anybody's part. So
no, it's been very thoughtful. There's been a lot of give and take. And as I know the information, I certainly don't know all of it, but this group has been working with the City Council members and the Mayor over these last few years, but especially in the last 2 weeks or so, having different negotiations that I believe have included the police chief as well. I'm going to clear my throat. I have allergies, so go ahead.
Oh, I really good. So we could go on about that, but I don't want to deny the opportunity as director of Catholic Charities for the Diocese of Des Moines. COVID and all that's been happening, Catholic Charities has really been on the front line in services and programs that have been provided.
Well, we appreciate your support of the COVID-19 Relief Fund. There's two aspects to the fund. One of those does benefit Catholic Charities, our clients, and those that are in the diocese. And so far we've raised approximately $75,000 on the Catholic Charities side, and we're using those monies for emergency needs, really for basic and essential needs for our clients and for others in need. So it's very modest that we have a $250 Visa card through an application process. We potentially have around 290 families that we can serve so far, and we've gotten a lot of applications. So far we have served more than 100 families. So, we'll retain those monies for those emergency needs during this COVID period and possibly beyond that.
Mm-hmm. And people have been very generous, but as you say, it touches lives, but it doesn't alleviate their overall situation sometimes, but provides hope and solidarity. And if people want to continue to support the COVID-19 Relief Fund on our website, Des Moines Diocese, the clicking, the giving menu bar would be the way to access that as well. Again, you have been on the front line. What's some of your programs and what's been some of the impact of COVID on the delivery of services for you all?
Yes. Well, we have retained, as you know, all of our programs continue to be open and have been open during this COVID period. One of our programs, there are two or three actually programs that certainly have made some major adjustments, but one initiative that has just recently come up is with our food pantry. They're located at 1815 Hubble Avenue. And they have an ongoing relationship and a partnership with Food Bank of Iowa, of course, one of the largest food distributors here in Iowa. And they recently offered and asked Catholic Charities Food Pantry, to engage in a new program called the Iowa's Hot Meal Program. So, we distribute different food items, but this is a hot meal, which is a little different. And so we're in partnership with Food Bank. We have had I'm looking for that number, 728 meals that have been distributed so far, and that's been only within the last week to 2 weeks. Now, we offer it once a week on Wednesdays through August from 3:30 to 4:30, and people drive up. And I just want to do a shout-out also to our volunteers. There are 15 or more Dowling Catholic students who are volunteering with us on the Hot Meals program, and so people, I believe, come into from their cars, their vehicles, and those meals. It's kind of a grab-and-go hot meal. It's free of charge. It's in our parking lot, and that's why I gave the address to you. And if you go to our website as well, you can receive more information, CatholicCharitiesDM.org. So that's a great initiative. And maybe one more, because I know our time is short. Well, very quick, thank you to our meal providers for our emergency family shelter. We have some new and ongoing meal providers. We think that's a small thing, but we really appreciate them preparing meals for our emergency family located in the Des Moines area. And then the last thing that I would mention is we needed to move quite quickly and dramatically in terms of our counseling office, from our office in the pastoral center to a teletherapy. Many other associations have also had to do that, but I want to certainly support our counselors in being able to take that on. And so a lot of our counseling sessions are through video conference or telephone right now. And one last thing, we continue to work with our 9 Des Moines Catholic schools that we partner with in offering school-based counseling as well, which will be even more important as we go, through this period.
I think that's just one of the most vital things that you do in terms of that. Barbara, I'm going to ask you if you'd hang with us for a little bit past the break, and we could maybe get in a few things.
Okay.
You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Pates on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and John Leonetti in the Morning is provided by Blessman International. According to a 2019 Global Food Security Report, more than 820 million people in the world are hungry today. None of us can help all of them. Most of us can help one child. Your gift of $1 a day through Blessman International provides a child in South Africa with a daily hot meal, place of safety, educational experience, and spiritual development. To get started, go to blessmaninternational.org and click Sponsor a Child.
Is it time for a new roof? Then it could be time for you to get to know Bell Construction. Bell Construction is a roofing company entering its 30th year of business. They specialize in residential re-roofs, light commercial jobs, and have the experience to meet all of your roofing needs with personal service. With Bell Construction, the owner will come to your home or place of business in person to inspect and ensure the quality of work that you deserve. They pride themselves in working with you on a personal basis and making sure you are satisfied. Bell Construction, 515-963-4494.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
Yeah, whichever bishop it is,
Sorry about that.
Stanley, it's been good knowing you in the Des Moines Diocese. Maybe Bishop Pates, administrator of Joliet Diocese, you may be able to latch on with him there. So that's good. Could happen to any of us, since Barbara mentioned Bishop Pates as well. I note something on your calendar. I've been fortunate to associate with you and have some fun at some of the Catholic Charities fundraisers already, the St. Pat's event and things. I note on the calendar something that's got me trembling a little bit, the Bishop's Golf Classic, Monday, August 31st at Echo Valley Country Club in Norwalk. Now, it's one thing to say, does one take a divot, but, does one dig a trench with one's golf club? So I don't know, if you're bonded enough to have me out there, hacking away and things like that. It's been a long time since that. So I'd be happy to support you, greeting socially, prayer, whatever, but just don't ask me to.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, I'll drive the cart, the refreshment cart. Yeah, but anyway, so how do you plan to pull that off?
Yeah. Well, first of all, your presence is always appreciated and welcome. People want to see you, Bishop, even on the golf course. So we'll get you there without any problem. But we have been taking due diligence, related to safety precautions and ensuring a very safe but fun golf event. We have been working with others, and particularly the golf course manager, the country club, to ensure that all people, and we have quite a few have responded so far. So for those listeners who have an interest in being outdoors and having some fun and not necessarily having to golf, but to be there, we invite you to come to us. And we do have our information also on the same website, CatholicCharitiesDM.org. But we have, instead of doing, more traditional things related to food and award ceremonies, we're planning to have box lunches and, make arrangements so that people can come and go related to the food items, but also on the award. We're hoping to have more of a virtual activity. So Holly Ackerman, who some of the folks may know out in the listening world, does a great job of organizing events, had done this with Going Catholic in the past. And so we appreciate all of her leadership and coordination as we go through this wonderful, I think it's 16 years of the Golf Classic. And we asked you, Bishop, to think about other ways that you would like to initiate some new activities, too. So we can talk about that later.
We'll think about a group ride here or something like that.
So
16 years. So Bishop Sharon participated in this, and Bishop Pates, who's getting a lot of attention today on the show. So what was their handicaps? I want to know. Well, any last words in terms of needs for volunteers or donations, Barbara?
Yeah, always volunteers are needed, and again, you can go on the website to look for that information. I would say people do consider, and we hope that they do, supporting Catholic Charities for, I think, the great work that many of our staff do, and they're on the front lines, Bishop, as you know. But the donations would be preferred through the monetary contributions right now. That is the best way that we know to be able to give back to our clients and to those that we serve. And so we would ask for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Barbara Decker, Director of Catholic Charities Des Moines. So appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bishop.
And we'll see you at the next one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Right.
Good. So tonight I've got a new first experience. Dowling Catholic High School is having their graduation ceremony at Principal Park, weather permitting. We know it's kind of a stormy day in that regard, so get to take part in that. I'm not sure about the attire, if I'm supposed to wear shorts and a Dowling Catholic T-shirt or a cassock or academic vesture. So I've got momentous decisions awaiting me today, but I've always kind of wondered with Dowling, the Maroons, it's kind of like the Stanford Cardinal, a mascot that's a maroon. Stanley, did you at home school, did you have a mascot for your family or not?
We had pets, but they weren't exactly mascots. But
okay, all right, very good. So please, good.
Yeah, well, this has been another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Thank you to all our guests and to our listeners in Iowa.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.